It's us. Good afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, 2 minutes off. I want to thank Leader McCarthy for joining me today. As we look at the challenges facing our country and the direction things are going, we believe it is our responsibility to offer more than just an alternative. We have to unite around a bold, pro-growth agenda that will get our country back on track. And then we need to take that agenda to the American people. They deserve no less. So to have inclusive ideas, we need an inclusive approach. So today we are establishing 6 committee-led task forces that will take the lead in developing this agenda here in the House. These task forces will seek input from all of our members and their constituents. This will be a bottom-up process, an ambitious one as well. While the task forces will focus on different issues, their mission is one and the same, which is to be bold, to do what is necessary to get America back on track. The only way I see it is that we have been too timid around here for too long. We need to think beyond this president to 2017. We need to think about what it's going to take to save the American idea. A tax code that rewards work, a 21st century military that keeps us safe, a patient-centered healthcare system, bringing people out of poverty and into the workforce so that they can share their talents with the rest of our country, our society, restoring the separation of powers and reclaiming the Constitution. We need to offer the people a very clear choice so that we can get a mandate to fix the country's problems. This is the next step toward restoring a confident America. And I am very much looking forward to working with our colleagues and these task forces in the months ahead. With that, Mr. McCarthy.
Well, I thank the Speaker, and as many of you were at our retreat. The Speaker challenged us to raise our gaze, to be bold, to look at the 21st century and how, not just to react, but to actually shape and change. So today we're going to roll out 6 new task forces, as the Speaker said. We'll put together, these task forces will be led bottom up. They'll be regular order. They'll go through committee. So they'll be led by chairs. But every single member of our conference has a voice. It doesn't matter if they're in that jurisdiction or not. They could be a part of the task force to give their ideas, so every voice in America is heard. The 6 task forces will focus on 1, it'll be the Tax Reform Task Force. This is to create jobs, grow the economy, and raise wages by reducing and removing special interest carve-outs and making our broken tax system simpler and fairer. Our next task force will be reducing regulatory burdens. It's going to make it easier to invest, relieve the burden on small businesses. And our Healthcare Reform Task Force. This is about repealing and replacing. It's going to be centered around patients and doctors. Our 4th one will be National Security Task Force, developing that 21st century national security that we look not only just for the military of threats here, but abroad as well. Our 5th task force is Poverty, Opportunity, and Upward Mobility, to strengthen our safety nets and reform educational programs, to make them more effective and accountable. And our last task force is Restoring Constitutional Authority. For too long, Congress has given their authority away. This is one that we will look at the restructuring of government itself, the Article 1, to bring the authority back to Congress, the accountability, and the effectiveness. I've got a press release that lays out all the chairs for each committee for you on the task forces so you can see. You could ask him the questions. One of us has to vote, so I'll depart.
Thanks, Gary. Questions?
Mr. Cleaver said you guys had a meeting yesterday about the Voting Rights Act, bipartisan bill Mr. Sensenbrenner brought forward, and said that you were in favor of reinstituting the Voting Rights Act and weren't going to step on your committee chairman. Is that accurate, and do you support reinstituting the Voting Rights Act?
Well, I'm not going to get into private meetings with members. I had a meeting with CBC on a whole host of issues. It's no secret I support the Sensenbrenner bill. It's also no secret that I support regular order and I back the committee-led process.
Defense Secretary Ashton Carter has ordered that all combat roles in the U.S. military be open to women. Will you support any action by Congress to roll back or restrict the use of women in combat by the U.S.?
I'm going to leave this up to the committees. Again, I think people are used to the speaker sort of consolidating power and predetermining the outcome of everything around here. That's not the kind of speaker I'm going to be. So I hate to say it, but I'm going to turn you over to the Armed Services Committee, talk to them, because we're not going to make these decisions in the Speaker's office. I believe Congress should work the way it was intended to work, bottom up. Members of Congress have their voices. The committees take the lead on policy. So This is not an issue that I've spent a great deal of time on. Why? Because we have a fantastic chairman in Mac Thornberry, and so I would just defer to him.
Or would those other people make that decision and put out legislation that would?
I don't know the answer to that question. That's why I'm saying you should talk to HASC. Yeah.
Yesterday, you said that you want your call for unity among Republicans, but during the vote yesterday, several of your conservative members were out there trying to whip against a project that hasn't been released yet. So I'm wondering where things stand in that conversation and what your thoughts are.
I think we're doing fine. Look, one thing I have some experience around here is putting together budgets and passing budgets. This is no different than any other year. We always have these family conversations about what our budget should look like and how our budget should be rolled out and what its contents are. I'm actually trying to have that family conversation earlier than we ever have before. Why? Because we have a constrained schedule this year. So normally we don't do a budget until April. I am getting those conversations now so that we can get moving with our job faster, because I want to get these appropriations bills to the floor earlier. So the kind of conversation we're having is the annual conversation. We're just having it in January and February instead of March and April. Yeah.
Here's one where the committees have actually acted already. Criminal justice reform.
Mhm.
There's been, I think, a fair amount of confusion in the last week or two about whether or not this is considered a must-do for this year. Some people have considered it must-do. There's been broad consensus, everybody, as you know, from
Yeah.
Rand Paul to the president.
Right.
This has to get done. Majority Leader the other day said he didn't think it had to get done this year. Where do you come down on
Well, look, these bills are out of committee, so we will schedule floor time for them. I don't know when that is. That's Kevin's job. I think more of the concern is over on the other side of the rotunda in the Senate. But we have 4 bills that are out of committee, so we will schedule these bills to the floor. When that is, I don't know exactly when that is. Yeah, I'm for these bills. Yeah, I can't speak for the Senate. I mean, yeah.
What role, if any, do you think Congress has in responding to the Flint crisis?
Well, first of all, we need to get the facts. This is something that should never have happened in the first place. We need to get the facts, and that's why we already started with oversight hearings just this week on the Flint crisis. I anticipate more hearings to anticipate. Chairman Upton's working on this issue. Candace Miller's working on this issue. Chairman Chavez had a hearing on this issue. So first, when something like this happens, you have to ascertain the facts, and then you have to see what solutions, and then which level of government is the proper role of government, or the level of government to take the lead. And that's what we're doing right now, is getting the facts to get to the bottom of this.
You said that you were engaging support, or at least engaging support for any event to fight ISIS, or sort of vote on that. What's the status on that?
We're still having our listening sessions. Chairman Royce is leading these listening sessions. There are other chairmen involved in this, Armed Services Committee, Intelligence Committee. But I'll be really clear, like I was before, we're not going to pass an AUMF that ties the hands of the next president, so that that next president is limited in what he or she, Carly is still in the race, what he or she is going to do to get down ISIS. So we do not want to pass something that will make it more difficult for the next president of the United States to do what is necessary to defeat, not contain, to defeat ISIS. And so we're discussing among ourselves what we think that looks like, but we're not going to tie the hands behind his back for the next presidency.
Ryan, Pentagon officials have said that ISIS forces in Libya have grown to as many as 6,500, which is about double compared to a year ago. How concerned are you about the growth of ISIS in Libya, and should we be expanding our focus to fighting them there?
I am concerned about it. I have received briefings about it. ISIS is expanding its reach in many regions. This is one of the most troubling ones. That is why we have to have a comprehensive strategy. This isn't just a one-off thing. We have to have a comprehensive strategy to defeat ISIS. This is why in the NDAA, the Defense Authorization Bill, we passed a law requiring a comprehensive plan to defeat ISIS. We have yet to see that from the president.
Last question, Ed.
Yeah.
On the congressional oversight and reviews of Hillary Clinton, Chairman Chaffetz has said he has new information he's going after federal records. But the FBI and Justice are already looking into this. Are you concerned that having Chaffetz, who's actively campaigning for Marco Rubio, will make this a more political approach?
Yeah, we're going to respect the FBI's investigation. The FBI Director James Comey is in the middle of an investigation. They have the tools they need to do it, so we will be respecting that investigation. Thank you. Appreciate it.